Hey everybody, I'm Les Carlson. This is Frontline Records Rewind, and today I'm sitting here on the couch with the members of 12th Tribe.
What's up, y'all?
That's right, everybody say hi.
What's up?
What's up? How you guys doing?
Yeah, Frontline Records Rewind, the founding father, the first original guy, he's still here, David Portillo.
Yep.
And of course, Frontline Records Rewind. Chewy, get it to us.
Rewind.
Rewind, here we go.
One day at a time, I sit and wait and beg for my dime. People walking by me every day. Some spit and kick me, that's a price I must pay.
My child plays in trash, hungry and sick, body full of rash. My tears fall, they have no one to catch them. Besides, hunger being lonely is my problem.
People care, but there's just not enough. Still I sit and rattle my cup.
Remember the days I played in my backyard. Now my home is an alley on Hollywood Boulevard.
I see the young in this town just give themselves up.
I wish I could say something, cheer them up.
But look at me,
I'm homeless,
just another bagman.
but I live, I survive. Sometimes I think, should I give up, should I die? Is suicide the answer? Then I see
Those people who talk like those pastors.
Jesus is this,
Jesus is that.
if so where?
Where's he at?
He's wherever you go, they say.
If he's my king, why do they push me away?
If he's by my side, then why can't I hide? They say he loves me, to meet him on Hollywood and Cherokee.
I smile and accept, but never go. So afraid to leave my home.
I look at my boy, who carries his father's face. That's all I have, we sleep and embrace.
But it soon ran dry, and my son began to cry.
It's been so long since I've been home. It's been 7 years and they've taken their toll.
But I will win, I refuse to let anyone
I
in.
am the wall, on my own I stand tall. I've been hurt by the people I most love. Now I'm left with just my son.
I will push and shove, I will not love. I will do what I have to do to live. I will fight, I refuse to be captive.
Night brings so much pain. Thoughts, they add more stains. This precious soul that has done nothing. My son, he's outstanding.
God, if you're there, protect my child from the streets and the wild.
I will not accept you, but pray my son makes it through.
And I'll continue to beg for my dime, and I'll make it one day at a time.
One day at a time, holding on. One day at a time.
Hey, we're rolling, guys. This is it, okay?
Right on.
We're on the couch. We're at the couch of right here in Frontline Record Studios. No, not really.
Kind of.
Where are we? We've created our own studio
That's
right
right.
here.
That's right.
In Mom and Dad's living room.
That's right.
Awesome.
That's right.
Now, speaking of which, your father at one point was your manager?
Yes. He well, it's kind of. Let me go back to the beginning.
That's a good place
Let me go
to
back
start.
to the beginning. It was in 1985, and born and raised in church. My father was a pastor. Very strict, very to the T about just trying to raise me and my sister in a good, godly Christian home. And at the time, rap music just kind of started coming on the scene. And me and my partner, guy I grew up with, went to church with, we were just kind of dabbling. We're in a breakdancing crew, just was really into the whole B-boy image. And we had thought at the time how cool it would be to do some gospel music with that. At the time, really didn't hear anybody doing that, at least here on the West Coast. Mm-hmm. You had early guys doing it like Stephen Wiley and Michael Peace. These are kind of like the founding fathers of Christian rap. But we always thought, how cool would it be to give our interpretation, our version of Christian rap? So I'll never forget. You know, it was summertime. We asked my dad if we can have a meeting with him. We talked to him, and we just told him our heart, you know, where we were coming from, and just like a father / pastor, he just shot it down. Just said, you know what, that has no place in the church, and pretty much just said that, you know, end of story. So we were disappointed, you know, but we knew, you know, kind of like where my dad was coming from, and I don't think it would have stopped us, you know, just being kids, your kids being kids, but I would say probably less than a week later. I'll never forget, my dad called me and my partner in and said, hey, you know what? Tell me more about this rap music, because I just got done jogging, and God spoke to me vividly saying that, you know what, you need to support your son and his friend and get behind this, because this is going to change. This is going to revolutionize today's generation. So when that happened, it was amazing, because you know, at the time we would do these park rallies with our church, and it was over. We were in Pacoima in Paxton Park, and you know, you would get a couple bands together and testimonies, and you give out food to the people in the park. And so we get up there, and we're not the headliner, but we go on last, and we asked the band if they could just play a beat. So me and my partner, we wrote some rhymes, and we got up there, and I'll never forget just being so scared. I had glasses on. I didn't even open my eyes with the glasses on. I was so scared, you know, just standing stiff. So I'll never forget, we did our song, and probably about 15 feet on the side of us was the fence where the pool was. And as soon as we were done, I kind of looked to the right, and there had to be about 200-300 kids outside clinging to the fence watching this. And as a kid, you don't really catch what was really going on, but I remember my dad telling me after that, he goes, you know what, I'm in. Whatever you guys want to do, because he saw, you know, how this could, you know, reach the youth.
Yes.
You know, it's the youth going after the youth.
Yeah.
And it wasn't probably till about maybe 3-4 years after that we finally were able to get into the church, because the church wouldn't have us. You know, we tried, you know, rap in the church, really? One of my dad's good friends growing up in the ministry allowed us to come out on a Wednesday night and in the church. And I'll never forget, man, this pastor was sweating bullets. Like, wow, you know, what are they going to say? You know, are they going to be, you know, is the etiquette going to be right? Are they not going to, you know, go over the edge? And the kids, you know, the kids was where it was, what it was about, because, you know, every time we would get out there, you know, God would just move. You know, God was doing things that we never imagined was going to happen. And, you know, having my dad as my manager is why I'm here today, because it was the foundation that was built from the jump. You know, rap today and you know, music today, and a lot of kids today, and just a lot of groups in general, they don't have that foundation or that accountability. And having that from the jump, having someone really, really back what you do, really, I think is what molded, is what shaped the ministry of the 12th tribe.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's amazing.
And it's obvious that God spoke to your father,
Yes.
and he listened.
Yeah.
And foundationally,
Yeah.
it was God's plan.
That's right.
And
That's right. That's right.
And look what he's done with it.
Exactly. I See Things was a song we wrote, kind of taking it to the neighborhood. In hip hop, you're gonna write about what you see on the streets, and that's where we were founded. We were founded on the streets, in the parks, doing rallies, and I See Things talks about that, just talking about what you see out there, what's raw. You know, a lot of times the church don't want to talk about it. You know, they don't want to talk about the things that are happening on the streets, the drug user, the prostitute, the pimp, the players out there. And that's what we talked about, you know, through parables on how we wrote at that time. That's how we saw it. And it was a powerful song. It was powerful. I remember we made the beat. We took, at the time, Madonna's Justify My Love had just hit the radio. And I remember she was getting banned from MTV, and just because of, you know, her sexual explicitness and what she was doing. So we took a part of that beat and sampled it underneath it. And I remember we got flack for it. A lot of people were like, how could you do that? I'm like, this is hip hop, homie. This is what we do.
Yeah.
You know, we here to do big things. We here to, touch a chord, and if you don't like it, don't listen.
Yeah.
But that at the time, that's how we were, but
And that's how you see things.
Exactly. So that's I see things.
Awesome.
As I walk through this world, I hold my head high, though temptation in front and on both sides. I'm surrounded by sin, and it wants to make me bend. Change your words, go with the trend, but I refuse to be a part of self-image speech. It won't save me. God is what I teach. I give you information of what He can do. I'm a testimony from head to the soles of my shoes. I am up here only because of Christ. I was chosen for this mission because I gave Him my life. We're living in a nation under God. We've won each war for Him. It's not a fraud. Peace has been sought through guns and death, but the peace I've got is through God. This is somewhat of a rhyme about how I think, what I say, and how I see things.
Kids fight over color that does not live. A man-made rag, made for sweat. How blind they are from the glory that you hold. God speaking through this mic, 12 tribe. I see kids stick sides when people gonna fight. It's called gangs, and it's an ugly sight. It's no longer fist, but guns held tight. It's no matter who wins, but of who dies first. It's vengeance and blood, they thirst. I cannot understand God, why is it this way? God says trust in me and pray.
What's gang banging gonna get you?
This is somewhat of a rhyme about how I think, what I say, and how I see things.
As I walk through this world, I feel the things in it. I pray that it doesn't take me out but keeps me from it. I see the things in the journey that I go. I see things new and old. I see my old friends, they're lost in drugs, searching for an answer from their parents' hugs. I pray for these people at the start of each day. Oh Lord, reveal yourself to them, I pray.
People on the trips thinking they're so bad. Don't you know you need Jesus, man? I'm not judging, just sharing of what I feel. Telling you Jesus means your hurts are healed. I'm in a rampage,
Ready
to rush about. I'm filled with excitement when I preach with no doubt. Can't you see? Open your eyes, stop and do. Don't try, lukewarm won't get you. Anywhere you're gonna die. Don't you care where you're gonna go? Heaven or hell? The time is short and I can hear the bell.
Camel, 75 years and still killing. Your teeth are black, I ain't joking.
I see, sure you're gonna give your life to Christ one day. Just give you some time, but you're gonna pay. You've been deceived. Devil, I'm calling you out. Come on, son, I'ma tell you what it's about. You're a liar, and you're going down. You're nothing, and hell is your crown. This is somewhat of a rhyme about how I think, what I say, and how I see things.
This is coming to a close, it's almost the end. Our work is done.
We support no trend, I'm a disciple.
I spread Jesus Christ, this is not a game. I'm not playing with dice.
God loves you, as you've heard. Know what's on you. Will you turn? Are you going to accept Him as your own? I pray you do, cause if you don't, you're on your own. We've shown and said all that we can do. And again, the choice is on you. My faith is staggering, which means I give all to Christ. Though it's hard, I must submit my
I
life.
see the problems, just like you, and I go through them like any youth. But I've got an edge, and it's Jesus Christ. The trees are nearly gone, I can see the light. I see this world, it's coming to an end. For a Christian, it's victory, no longer have the band.
Don't go by my looks, but of what I say. Listen to the words, cause if you don't, you're gonna wish you were saved. Remember, Jesus Christ rules, and that's all we have to say. This is somewhat of a rhyme about how I think, what I say and how I see things.
Now, a lot of people don't want to see things.
Exactly.
They don't want to look.
They want to turn
They
around
just
and not
think
see
if I
things.
don't look at it, it's
That's
all
right.
good. But you guys, you're
That's
bringing
right.
it to their face.
That's right. You know, it you know, when you're a ministry that came from the streets, it's, you know, at times it's difficult to go back to the church. And what I mean by that is, you know, I even talk about today, even with what we're doing today. There's times when we go into the church and it kind of seems foreign to us because we do so much outreach. You know, we feel comfortable on the pavement, on the blacktop,
Yeah.
you know, out there on the street corner, you know, because our music is for the whosoever.
Yeah, it sounds like Jesus.
Exactly. I always said, I think if Jesus came back today through man, he'd be a rapper.
Right on.
He'd be a rapper. He'd be an MC.
Would he shave his head maybe?
No.
He might. He could. I mean, he could tattoo it.
I'm
and
just
everything.
saying. I think he'd be a rapper and a DJ.
That's good. You know, and you know what? That's truth because that's how much in love with you guys he is. That's
Amen.
you know, no matter where you are, he's in love with us. He's
That's
crazy
right.
about it.
That's right. You know, there's so many stories. I mean, I'm just gonna brush on a couple of them. And it was in 1987. We had actually expanded the crew. You know, went to was in high school. A couple other guys that we knew joined the crew. So there's about 5 of us at the time. Wednesday night. So now we're starting to do churches. Where the church is starting to kind of accept it. But it was always youth group. We never on a Sunday morning. It was never, featuring the 12th tribe. It was always just go up there and do a song. Mm-hmm. So we show up, and it was one of our first true concerts where, hey, youth group is having us come in. We're doing the whole youth group. So we're excited. We're pumped. So it was in Torrance. I'll never forget this. We get to Torrance, and we show up, and there's probably people in the average age of 65 and over. And they're coming in, and they're walking in. And me and my guys are watching this, and I'm looking, and my eyes are like, what's going on? So I watched my dad go talk to the pastor, and I could kind of see, they're talking about it. So my dad calls us over to the back and says, hey, you know what? The youth pastor said they passed out flyers. They promoted this, and these are the people who showed up, and gave us the option to, you don't have to do this, because it didn't seem like it was the right crowd to do it for. Mm-hmm. So, but, being the young, arrogant punk kids that we were like, no, we're going to do it no matter what. So I think that's rap. Hip hop is like, you get a chance, give me that mic, I'm ready to go.
Yeah, absolutely.
You're there to prove yourself. So we did it, and it was amazing because I remember there's about 150 people there. And afterwards, and let me back up. In between that, we're watching these people, and they're really, they're into it, and they're clapping their hands, and we're just kind of looking at my guys, and we're like, hey, let's just go for it. Let's do it. Mm-hmm. So afterwards, they had food for us, and they called us upstairs. And all these people were all retired pastors and evangelists that travel together once a year, and they end up at different parts of different churches, and they just so happen to be at this church. So all these evangelists and ex-pastors are praying for us and giving us a word saying, God is going to use you guys. Awesome. Don't ever turn back. This is going to be a powerful ministry. Awesome. Don't let God, or don't let man tell you what God can't do. Mm-hmm. And it was like, from that point on, it was like we were unstoppable. Nothing was going to stop us. We knew, having my dad back us, having ex-evangelists and pastors back us, it was amazing. Because remember, at that time, still, we were never to be in the church. We weren't able to go into the church because it was taboo. Rap music was so new at the time, period, let alone Christian.
Yeah.
It was like, Christian rap? What is that? So, I was telling Adele earlier, it was almost like it was a novelty. Like, you'd have kids just kind of, and people just waiting, what are they saying? What are they going to do? I don't understand it, but when we get out there and do it, and the Holy Spirit would get involved, and God would take over, and lives would be changed, people got it. Mm-hmm. For so many years, we would hear, I don't like rap music, but I like what you do. I don't get rap music, but I get what you do.
Yeah.
And it was always because God always had his hand over what we were doing. And that's why we're still here today, because of that.
Yeah. Because the devil doesn't hide in the beat.
That's right.
I mean, you know,
That's
I mean,
right.
really, he really
That's
doesn't.
right.
It's the spirit of the music.
That's right.
It's the spirit of what you're rapping about.
That's right.
And
That's right.
yeah, it's powerful.
Yeah, it sure is. When we wrote "Piece of Soul," it was right during Desert Storm, and we took a lot of video clips from CNN, and just put all like those war clips in front of them, and I think with the greatest thing that came out of it was we used to get a lot of fan mail from ex GIs, guys in the war that had just came back, that they heard the song and they appreciated what we were talking about, and just talking about just peace of soul, just having peace with yourself and in your soul, but giving peace worldwide. Kind of like we were never a political rap group, but I guess if you want to say that was kind of a political song, we did it and it was awesome, and I'm glad we did it for that reason. So peace of soul.
Well, one thing did not change today. Anti-war demonstrations continued in widely scattered sections of the country, including several that happened here in the West. Heated arguments by others who supported the U.S. action.
In order to provoke an attack on himself that he could then gain against those Arabs to hate Israel, and not saying that they were side with the enemy of Israel, regardless of who started the conflict. Saddam Hussein.
Desert Storm. Ladies and gentlemen, the President of the United States.
War is never cheap or easy.
U.S. and coalition Desert Storm forces act of aggression against Israel in the peace, New World Order.
Anti-aircraft fire.
Baghdad. Saddam Hussein is exactly what's
And to go to a sealed room. And to go to a sealed room.
Reports out of Israel suggest that the casualties have been miraculously low.
And to go to a sealed room. 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 And to go to a sealed room.
Surrender.
This will not be another Vietnam.
There's a lot of prayer going on in the White House.
God is with us, he said. The will of Satan and evil in the White House will be defeated. Victory will be with us with the help of God.
Rolling like a rap star. Total mind control, and people, we're going far, but never going back, cause I found the way into a realm of peace. You don't understand peace of soul.
Piece of soul,
My friend,
yo, excel. Come on, let's do this again.
calm like the waters that flow in the sea. Deep like 'em, but the message you can see. Going all out, can't you see who rules? And what I shout, but still you pout. Cry, no one loves you, so you retaliate. Mad at the world, so you demonstrate peace. Bring our troops home. You burn flags and chant, but your peace don't show. I'm not into killing, so I don't. But that's not to say that I won't. If my country calls me, I'll be there. Serve my country like I serve my father here. I don't mean to diss, cause I come in peace. I hold the question too, when will the gun cease? Gangs is the same, a stone is your only fame. Very far from a game, peace comes from the Lord. And to obtain it, it's when 2 or 3 are in accord. Harmony, let the Lord move steadily. Straighten your narrow blindness, cause the blindness to flee. Enter a realm of peace. You don't understand peace of soul, my friend.
Now don't get me wrong or nothing, but there's a little subject I gotta say something. Now they say God's black, that doesn't bother me. I mean, he could be red, all I know is that he freed me. You all went back that far, still didn't learn. You passed up the knowledge,
You took the wrong turn.
obsessed, feeling you're better than everybody. There was bound to be a white man and God let him in the family. Everybody's yelling peace, they want want their rights back, but mobbing in the street, that's not the way you act. I know I can't feel what your people have been through, but my race isn't perfect, we have problems too.
It's like this.
Could I preach this when it's not in my heart? The message sounds shallow, it don't go far. In the Bible, when the prostitute was gonna get stoned, Jesus said, he who has no sin cast the first stone. They stood in their own
Judgment alone. Peace.
goes beyond war and a way to say hello. It's got to be within your soul.
Your soul.
Jesus was at peace at all times. Though he mobs on the devil, he'll take his time, always making sure it is God's way. He won't do nothing till he has God's okay. Doesn't care who the person is or his color, no respecter of man.
He's everyone's father.
So when we say peace, it's an actuality. 1, 2, 3.
You don't understand peace of soul, my friend.
All the music you hear on Frontline Rewind episodes is available on iTunes, Amazon, Spotify, and our own website, frontlinerecords.us.
All right, that was Piece of Soul by 12th Tribe.
Awesome.
Yeah,
I actually like that one.
so do I. The idea of a soldier in combat that's listening, they're listening to your music. That's just amazing.
Yeah.
I know that I'd heard that about some Bloodgood stuff, and to think that we actually were there to, and you were there for these soldiers, and they're in a place that's far from home.
Oh, yeah.
They're in a battle situation or whatever, and your music has touched their hearts.
Yeah.
and given them peace that they need.
Yeah. It's amazing. It's amazing. I mean, when we wrote the song, I remember what we were talking about at the very beginning of it, how the Bible talks about obeying the laws of the land. And in today's laws of the land, that's what we were trying to kind of like incorporate what the Bible was saying and in today's standards. And I think doing that, it kind of showed not just the political side, but just also the godly side of how we live. Not just on the fact of, we're doing this for God, but, we're here to obey the laws of the land and try to do what we're here to be called to do.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
So from that point, what took place then? Dad's managing the group?
My dad was a manager, and we, things started picking up. We started doing a lot of youth groups. We did I'll never forget, we went up to, we did a Foursquare camp. My dad was a Foursquare pastor, so we go to Foursquare, summer camp every year. So we show up, and had to be about 1,000 kids. And my partner at the time went to church with us, and our other partners went to church on the way. And here in Van Nuys, Jack Hafer's church. So we all were at the same summer camp. So they asked us to go up and do a song in front of all these kids. So we got up there, and it was like, yeah, this is our element, finally, So the kids went bananas, the people were going crazy. And I'll never forget a youth pastor from Chatsworth. His name was Jerry Marino. He comes and says, I got to get you at my church. Come to my church. How can I get you? So, gave him my number. And a couple weeks later, we're doing an event at his church. So after that event, I'll never forget this lady came up to us and said, hey, you know what? My husband is moving out from New York, and he does music, and he's interested in wanting to do gospel music, and I think you guys would work well together. So got his number. Well, long story short, he moved out here, and he got in contact with us, and he was a producer, Scott Blackwell. And I'll never forget, the whole plan was we're going to do a 5-song demo, and once we get the 5-song demo, we're going to shop it to all the labels, and that was the plan. You always have to have a plan. The mission was make a demo, get a record deal, because back then record deal was what it was all about. That was the goal. So we're doing 3 songs. The first song into it, I remember Scott stopping the reel-to-reel and say, hey, you know what? This is bigger than a demo. Let's take the title demo off. Let's just do songs. Okay. Because I understand what you guys are doing. I want to be a part of this. This is chemistry that's happening here. So we just started doing songs. So 3 songs in, Sunday night, we're listening to KYMS. It was a station here in LA. And Roger Martinez from Vengeance Rising was on the radio, and he was talking about, how to get your demo submitted and how to get a record deal. And he represented Frontline Records. And so the next day, Scott gets in touch with the guys at Frontline. And Michael Black, who was the A&R director of Frontline, knew who Scott Blackwell was in the world. So it was kind of like a match. Like, I want to meet you. You want to meet me. Hey, let's make this happen. So about 2 days later, he comes and meets Scott and wants to see what Scott's doing. And, because, Scott was pretty well known in New York. And we show up about a week later. I'll never forget this. It's Michael Black, Scott Blackwell, Mike McLean, and Brian Tong. And they're sitting in his studio. And we show up about an hour after, Scott says, hey, come up. I'm in a meeting. Come back a little bit later for our session. And we walk in. And I'll never forget Michael Black looking at us and go, hey, who are you guys? What do you guys do? So Scott's like, oh, these are the guys I'm working on some songs with. So he plays the 16 track, and about a month later we're signing contracts.
Awesome.
And that's pretty much how we got signed to Frontline Records, was because of just you always want to say, right place, right time, but God's timing is impeccable.
Yeah.
He knew where we were at, what we wanted to do. That was our dream. And here I am, 20 years old, signing a contract, my first record deal. And it was amazing. It was amazing. You could always say, artists, they talk about the bad and this is what happened. I have nothing bad to say about Frontline.
Mm-hmm.
If it wasn't for Frontline, we wouldn't be known in the industry.
Mm-hmm.
And bottom line, I'm grateful for that.
Yeah.
I'm grateful for that, we have a name that's cemented, and no one's going to change that.
Yeah.
And no one's going to change that. When we wrote God Rules, the hook is reminiscent to Undercover's God Rules. Remember the old punk band back in the 80s,
Yeah.
Undercover?
Did they have an album called
Yep, they sure
God
did.
Rules?
They sure did.
Yeah.
I grew up when I was 12 years old with the the president of our youth club was 17. He had an old 65 Volkswagen Bug. And I remember that summer when Undercover came out, we went and saw them at Magic Mountain in the gazebo. They weren't even on a stage. They were in the gazebo when you first walk in, doing their thing. And you're talking 83, 82.
Oh, yeah.
And people back then were like, who are these guys? I fell in love with those dudes. It was Gene, what was his name?
Joe Taylor.
Oh, Joe Taylor, yeah. And so that was a song I love. So when we started writing our own music and getting into our own style, we wrote God Rules. And I took that from, not the riff, but I took the idea from that song, God Rules, and kind of slowed it down, used the still, God Rules, how they did it. And so people who knew Undercover got it. They knew what we were doing. And it was awesome. I loved doing that song live.
Cool.
It was great.
And that's all Frontline family.
Yep. Sure was. God Rules.
I sing a song.
talk to him.
As a friend, he won't leave you or forsake you, it'll never end.
Say your petitions, let them be heard.
They'll be answered.
It says in its word, rejoice,
Rejoice,
sound the battle cry.
for Christ live.
To the world die,
God is the Omega.
beginning and the end.
Follow God's words
Of the everyday trend, stop insulting the devil, you rebellious man.
on Judgment Day, accepted or forsaken.
He's the ruler of the world from day
The
one.
mortal man, he sent his son.
He came 2,000 years ago just to let you know.
Having power in Christ, rebuking demons left and right.
Now Jesus is the answer that we want to share. Cause you need him in your life, just like you need air.
Just like a ship without a sail, you're gonna sink, you can't prevail.
But in Jesus Christ, in whom we stand.
Bold on the rock, not an earthly sand.
Now I have obtained the ultimate high, getting blasted in Jesus and I'm feeling fine.
Intoxicated,
With this word, go for first
and second,
and even third. Now God rules in my life and his work is number one. God
he lives in my heart. I sing a song.
and now the reason I'm here is to spread Jesus Christ. God
He died for you.
purpose.
Free life.
I will fill my cup till it runneth over.
And yes,
Go back, I refuse to be sober.
addicted to Christ is what I am. Take me away from him, I will not stand.
Penny in the flesh with lustful man on his way to hell.
Is man's plan.
Thinking it's great party all the time.
Like I said before,
It's just a lie. Busting on the mic like it can't be done.
What?
Christian MCs you all make fun
I
of.
came up from the odds like an underdog.
And the words you hear are of God. Tough drive. It's all the rise. Kicking the punchline. The band to life. Rap galore.
We excel.
Lyric licking rhymes.
Jumping off a
Satan all the time. Taking a chance. When the weekend goes ready to theme. Just to let you know. Now what's the theme you say?
give us the move.
Alright, tell them Excel.
Now you go on.
Okay, he's got it going on. Yes. God rules.
All right, so that was God Rules, and He Does. I wanted to ask you, since we're on that, that you've just signed with Frontline, what happened? Now, all of a sudden, you got distribution.
Yeah.
And this distribution's all over the U.S.? Is it in Europe? What's going on? Worldwide.
Well, I
So how does that change your life? I mean, what are you doing?
It changed everything because we went from rapping at youth groups to park rallies to all of a sudden now we're open up for bands like Deliverance. We're finding ourselves around DC Talk. We're finding ourselves in Christian festivals. Rubbing elbows with the Newsboys. I think I told you earlier. We did Sunshine Festival in 1992.
Oh,
And
yes. Good.
they flew us. They flew 12 Tribe, 12 Tribe, Tourniquet, and Mortal. We're on the plane, and you're talking about misfit looking guys. I mean,
What?
we
Come
we
on,
don't
man.
we don't fit the criteria of being on
What?
TWA.
Oh, okay.
So we're flying out there, and I'm thinking to myself, man, this is the life. Like wow. So
You guys look normal to me.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, So when we get out there they fly us to Minnesota, and it's about a 3-hour trip from the airport to the fairgrounds because Wilmer, Minnesota, it was like I guess 40 miles this side of Canada, so it's out there in the sticks.
Yeah.
So they put all these bands flying to Minnesota, so they put us all on this one bus. So, I'm looking, there's DC Talk, there's Newsboys, there's Disciples of Christ, there's the bands that we're with, Christafari's there. And they put me in the front, and I'm sitting next to this older guy. So I'm looking around like, why ain't you with my guys in the back? Well, whatever. So I just sit down.
So he was like 40.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh,
at the time, yeah, exactly. So I'm sitting there, and he just starts talking to me. Who are you? And I tell him the name of our group, and artist to artist. You can be, oh yeah, I've heard of you. Yeah, sure, okay. Whatever. You know how it is.
I've heard all your stuff.
Exactly.
I love it.
So he's telling me it's like he's telling me all this stuff like I know you're new at this, but you need to learn the industry and and I'm thinking it's just kind of going over my head. I don't know what he's talking about, but he's telling me stuff that I know I should know. I know I need to know about your royalties and what your contract says and what are you gonna do after this. And so I'm just thinking to myself, man, why is this old man telling me all this stuff? So I get out right before we get off the bus. I'm looking at him and I just, shook his hand and I go, by the way, what is your name? And he goes, well, my name is Eddie. I go, Eddie. He goes, yeah, I'm the lead singer of Eddie DeGarmo, the DeGarmo and Key Band.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So then I get it because I remember listening to his music and it just kind of like, it kind of stunned me that this guy is telling me this whole industry, what I need to know. So it just, there was these type of people that came along in our way that would always encourage us, always give us a good word. Mm-hmm. It was awesome, just learning the business, learning, the to-dos and the what not to do's, what contracts meant. And just like the world, no one ever signs a great contract, in the gospel scene. Tell me one gospel artist that signed a great contract. It's like you're always talking about your royalties and I'm owed this, I'm owed that. But when you're kids, you don't care about that. All you care about is just getting on the mic and, doing what you're doing, Mm-hmm. But it's like I said, I always go back to that because if it wasn't for that contract, the name in the industry wouldn't be who we are today.
Yeah.
You could have saved your millions of dollars just to have this name today means everything. Mm-hmm. It means everything because it's that name is why God opens up these big doors and we still get people, oh, I remember you guys, yeah, come on through. Yeah, let's do this. And it's everything to me. It's everything to us.
Yeah.
Yeah,
no record deal, nobody knows who you are and
exactly.
That's why, I think that's why a lot of labels, especially secular labels, really did take advantage of a lot of great groups. I mean, Sly and the Family Stone, those guys, living in their van and stuff.
Oh, yeah.
After all that money that they made. And
oh, yeah.
Because they knew, listen, we've got all these bands we can choose from. So why don't you sign under our terms and all that? Things have changed.
Oh, yeah.
But now there's like really no record companies, hardly.
Well, you figure it's been, about 20 years now? Do you really need to sign a record label?
No.
It's like everything's social.
You just need Frontline Records Rewind.
That's it.
Let's go with it.
Let's do it.
What I'm saying?
Let's do it. But I mean, back then, when you talk about, we talk about worldwide, I would answer fan mail from Europe, Germany, Australia.
Doesn't that blow your mind?
Yeah, it was
just
crazy.
Going, wait a minute. I know where I wrote this thing. I put this stuff together, and these people know it.
I'm getting
over here.
We're getting fan mail all over the world, and and this is a testament to it. And I'm kind of jumping, but I want to talk about this. This is crazy. We just did a road trip about a month and a half ago, and we went to all through the Southwest. Ended up in El Paso, Texas, and in Juarez, Mexico, and. One of the guys who brought us out there from El Paso, he has a group, and we had just social media, put it out there. Hey, we're coming to your guys' town. Would you be interested? So he jumped on it. A fan.
Yeah,
a fan.
Yeah.
But also has into the hip hop scene, and so here we are. I'm meeting these guys for the first time. We crossed the border. We're in Juarez, Mexico. We're in the heart. I mean, you're talking just thousands of people around us, commerce going everywhere. And half the people speak English, others speak Spanish. So we had just done what we were doing. There's a couple groups there. God came down. The Holy Spirit came down. It was powerful. We're praying for people. We're up there rapping under a gazebo, and bands are praying for people right there. Picture this in the heart of Mexico.
Wow.
So one of the rappers says, hey, we're going to do a freestyle right now. So I'm like, I'm kind of like, I'm distracted, watching around, looking at other people, and they throw the beat on. So he kind of like nudges me. So I grab the microphone and I look at all these rappers that are there, and I said, I'm gonna give you an old school beat right here. I'm gonna give you old school. So I started reciting Knowledge of the Tree of Life. So the first part of A bars is my verse. The second part was my original partner's verse. So I do it, and I'm looking at these guys. The guy who brought us out, the promoter, grabs the mic and recites my partner's verse verbatim. Never practiced it, never done it for the first time. The guy who was with us, C-Flow, said, hey, did you guys rehearse that? And to me, after it was all said and done, I looked at the guy and I'm thinking, this is why we do what we do.
Yeah.
This is why I'm so proud of being a part of that label.
Yeah.
Because of that. And the guy to this day was like, man, he's talking about lyrics that we wrote, and why did you write this, and tell me about this. And you're talking songs that came out 20-something years ago that people still remember, still want, why? Why behind the what?
You know, the thing, David, that's cool about what you do, and even what some of the metal bands and the groups from all the groups from Frontline, Jesus is the same yesterday, today, and forever. The message of the gospel is always current. It's always new. And here it is years later, and you're still fresh.
Yeah, that's right.
You know, you're still happening. So,
but you know, I'll end on this. To me, I think with my guys, I think the most powerful thing about this road trip that we did was, here I am. I was 15 years old when I got into ministry, and Chewy's son Eli, who's 16, my son Little David, who's 15, was on the road trip with us and is now starting to rap. Got to have the opportunity. I'm up there on stage rapping with my son at the same age that I was while he's doing it. It's like how the cycle has just kind of come around, and how God has just picked up the mantle on today's kids, and it's powerful. You know, it was very emotional for me to be on the stage with my son. You know, for the first time,
I would imagine.
You know, to do his backups and his vocals, and it was awesome. It was powerful. It was powerful. My style is wild. In fact, it's versatile. Save your life in front of strife, like Moses in the Nile. Sink it to your heart, never coming back vain. Your flesh starts to twitch at the chill that numbs your brain. Bored, I'm not happy in any spot. Though my surroundings are nasty, they'll come on top. You see, battles I have many, and many are to come. I smile, conquer like Psalms 27:1. I battle not against flesh. And my cuts, they show no blood. My scars are deep but healed by the dove. I war against serpents and principalities. You don't understand, I have the cure for disease.
My style is wild, in fact it's versatile. Save your life in front of strife, like Moses in the Nile. Sink into your heart, never coming back vain. Your flesh starts to twitch and the chill that numbs your brain. Bored, I'm not happy in any spot. Though my surroundings are nasty, I'll come on top. Battles I have many, and many are to come. I smile, conquer like Psalms 27:1. I battle not against flesh. And my cuts, they show no blood. My scars are deep but healed by the dove. I war against spirits and principalities. You don't understand, I have the cure for disease.
Like a scientist, find a cure for a sickness. The fight within his lab, medicines put together, hoping each outcome, it looks better when he finds the remedy. The discovery, whoever has a sickness is now free. But I have the cure, and it's pure. The blood of the lamb, and it's slammed. Jesus Christ is who I'm talking about. Bam! Yo, where we going now?
Back to the lab. Back to the lab. Back to the lab. Back to the lab. Back. Knowledge is the tree of life. Back to the lab. Back to the lab. Back to the lab. Knowledge is the tree of life.
Here we go again.
Knowledge is the trademark in the rap scene. Most rappers work hard to earn a degree. I bring a knowledge of a different kind. Knowledge of the Lord, not of the mind. Wisdom is the tree of life. To those who eat the fruit know how to deal with strife. Blessed is the man who knows wrong from right, who uses right judgment and common sense. Happier than the man who's immensely rich. You see, the knowledge of the Lord is more than money or wealth.
Yo, hang it on the shelf.
So in everything you do, put God first. You'll never feel hungry, you'll never thirst. So when you chill with your friends and your topic is the band, project yourself as a crazy man. Do without thinking, not using wisdom, following a crowd I disagree with. Be yourself a Christian first, not fifth.
Tree of life.
Knowledge is the tree of life. Wisdom is knowing and doing right. Common sense. You win the fight, don't let it slip away. Add a feather in your hat. A graduate of the Bible, the angels clap. But that's not where it ends. Don't be satisfied with what you have. Dig in the Bible, begin to grab. So remember, knowledge is the tree of life. So open it, take a bite. To those who listen, for a Christian, you want a chunk, yo, excel, give the message.
Wisdom calls aloud in the streets. She raises her voice in the public squares. At the head of the noisy streets, she cries out. In the gateways to the city, she makes her speech. How long will you simple ones love your simple ways? How long will you mockers delight in mockery? And fools, you fools that hate knowledge.
At frontlinerecords.us, we have all kinds of goodies. Artist bios, links to all the music, and a free music offering when you sign up for the newsletter. Check it out, frontlinerecords.us.
I would always laugh inside. I remember when we were making Living in Babylon. It was our second record.
Love the title.
And I'll never forget talking to my original partner saying, how did this happen? I'm 22 years old. We just got a record deal a year ago. We're making our second record. I'm able to take time off my job, and we're living in the studio making an album and getting paid to do that. It was like, how did this happen? It's like, I started at 15. By 2021, I had my first record deal. But you think as a kid, I've made it. I'm here. But you think, wow, like if you would know now what you knew, or vice versa, if I knew all the stuff that was going to happen years later, things would change. But you know what? God has a funny way of just kind of humbling you and making you realize that it's not easy. It's work. Yeah. It's work when you're writing your music and, the themes and the titles and the content and really the audience that you're trying to go after. Because at the time, rap was it was so new. It was so raw. It was so untouched. And even in the radio sense, people didn't know how to accept it at the time because, in the world, hip hop is, it's from the heart. It's from the streets.
Yeah.
So, it's not clean. It has to be dirty. Yeah. You have to talk about what's going on. So you'd have the radio come and give you the radio edits and got to give me the clean version. And so think about on the gospel side, what are you going to talk about? What are you going to rap about? To try to reach these kids in the streets. And really it's powerful than that because it's what God manifests through you to reach those kids on the streets. You can go out there and they know kids today, especially today, they know what's real. They know it's fake. Yeah. They're not going to listen to if they know you're just trying to come with just the business or just something stupid. They're going to know that. Yeah. So, but it's amazing. And I say 1990s when we got signed. It's 2016. So I've been doing this for 31 years. No, I'm sorry. 85 is when I started. Got my record deal in 1990. So from 85 till now, I've been doing this for 31 years.
And you're still fresh.
Still doing it, yeah. This song, Black Highways, I wrote it. It was a real personal song that I wrote. Talks about just, the Bible speaks about God saying if you're lukewarm, he'd spit you out of his mouth. In other words, saying he'd rather you be one way or the other, not be lukewarm. And when I wrote this song, it's just stuff that I grew up, feeling at times like, am I really a Christian? Do I really want to do this? Where's my calling? Because sometimes you just get so caught up in just the title of, what you're doing at the time, the title of being a founder of a ministry, a group. And at times I would catch myself kind of teetering on that fence of, do I really want to do this? So instead of calling a song lukewarm, I called it Black Highways, talking about, as Christians, sometimes we go on that black highway and we don't know where we're going. We know we're just going somewhere. And it was, it has a dark overtone to it. And, but just talking about that lukewarm, that's basically what it's talking about. If you're lukewarm, God's going to spit you out. And so when I wrote that, it's still to this day, sometimes when I hear it, it's a testament. I love listening to it. It speaks to myself.
Well, here it is. Black Highways.
As I progress through the halls of life, the filth of the soup begin to rot in my eyesight. I gotta tiptoe around embankments. There's glass all over, thorns and rock beds. The road is dark and gloomy, wet and putrid. The stench of a dead body, but shelter was my mind in the cavern. My stroll was steady, exploring on a pattern up ahead. On the side, a peasant in the den, typifying man in vain sin. but opposites sided, portrayed a rich, charismatic man in grace. I find myself between the pillars of existence, hesitant to see what's in this. But I commence like a stray, on my way, wandering the black highway.
Is it warm in the night?
It's warm in the day.
Another soul added to the black highways.
Is it warm in the night?
It's warm in the day.
Another soul added to the black highways.
Is it warm in the night?
It's warm in the day. Another soul living in the black highways.
Selecting my road in the middle, enveloped by the snares of life, I feel little. Taking in the onslaughts, I counteract the situation as I flee from the havoc. I'm secure where I'm at, though the road is dirty, filthy and black. Confined in the cold halls, my opponents contend to gnaw, so I begin to crawl. In the distance, the path sways. I grip lock, I'm dwelling in my own cave. The choice, spewing through like ooze, confused as a Christ or the devil's brew. Instead I shine, I don't pick the dark side, nor choose the light. Selection has been made in the neutral zone. To both, I'm a friend, not a foe. So I sustain the maze on my way into the black highway.
Is it warm in the night?
It's warm in the day.
Another soul added to the black highway.
Is it warm in the night?
It's warm in the day.
Another soul living in the black highway.
Is it warm in the night?
It's warm in the day.
Another soul living in the black highways. The air is cold and the road is dark. Cruising through the chamber like a sark. I'm marked like a felon being chased by dogs. Only this time the devil's leached on. No longer will my path be warm in between, dissolved. Accelerate my speed. The wandering, the traveling, the roaming merge terror.
Reality,
Look in the mirror.
cause the flick is real. Gotta spit me out for no lukewarm appeal. Begin to focus, everything is clear. Rapidly, I flee in fear, so I speed the tempo in the fast lane. The enemy's in back, expanding like a flame, gasping for air, endeavor not to stumble. In the horizon, there's light in the tunnel.
I jump over trials in front. The holes begin to swell, it becomes a stunt. I'm dodging arrows and spears from the shoulder. I look over, here comes a slow foot boulder. The floor begins to shake and the walls collapse. I'm being sucked in, the worldly wrath.
Death coming down like debris to the ground. Reinforcements accompanied to drown. It appears I'm 6 feet under, but still breath I breathe through the clutter.
I lunge for the rope of grace. I struggle to climb, I see my Lord's face. A stretched hand I grab, now I'm being pulled. The safe child, no longer the devil's tool.
I look back, the path I live was vain. Lukewarm, the black highways.
Well, David, wow. I mean, there was some great stories in there. Some great music. That's the end of part one.
Yeah.
And in part two, it's really exciting because we've got some new, current 12th tribe members.
Yes.
And you're going to tell us about them.
Yeah.
And we're going to hear from them. And
I have a cast of brothers that are in the ministry now that I believe are going to be with the tribe until, the streets say until you die, ride or die. These are guys that have been called to ministry, but most of all, they've been called to do God's work.
Yeah.
And the foundation of where the next chapter is, this is where it's going.
Well, I told you, this unity with these brothers is special. Yeah. It's God's in the center of it. So look forward to hearing part two with 12th Tribe.
Amen.
Frontline, records rewind. Frontline, records rewind.
Frontline Records Rewind.